Alright guys, in this video I'm going to do some decal work and show you guys how I do my decals for my bolt action vehicles. Here's a half track that I worked on last night and put some decals on. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. And we're going to be working on this M3 Stewart right here. And the Stewarts were used with the British and the Russians a lot, so the decals they give you have a lot of the British and Russian stuff. So basically we're just using the bottom portion of the decals here. And if you've never done decals before, it's not that bad. A lot of people are intimidated by it. It is pretty time consuming, but I think it makes your vehicles look really good, and it's worth the time you put in for it. So I'm going to show you guys how I do it, and the only items you need are a bowl of water, a hobby knife, a paintbrush, and some tweezers, and your decals, of course. So let me get the camera set up and be right back. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do here is, I'm hoping you can see that, we're going to cut out that yellow star right there that I already started to cut out. There's already one in the bowl of water. So if you've never done decals, they come on a thin piece of paper. The decals themselves are plastic, which are on the top layer. So you need to get a nice clean cut all the way through the paper and everything, and then you soak it in water to release the plastic decal from the paper backing. So you want to have a nice sharp hobby knife. This one isn't the greatest, but we're going to make it work. So you want to cut all the way through without tearing the plastic. Okay. So once you have the decal cut out, go ahead and put it in the water. And I like to just touch it so that it sinks all the way to the bottom. That way you know it's the water's soaking through there. So the decals I'm using, I just Google image search M3 Stewart photos, and I found a pattern that I liked. So we'll take the tweezers and get the one that has already been soaking. I like to let them, you can't really over soak these. I like to let them soak at least a minute or so. So what we're going to do is, that star is going to end up going right there, but we got to get the star off of the paper backing. So what you want to do is you want to take your paintbrush, get it nice and wet, and you can just slide it off of that wet paper. And what you want to do is just get it close to the model and just push it right over there. It doesn't matter if it's perfect where you want it or not, because now the key is keeping a wet paintbrush so that you can just slide the decal around however you want. As long as it's wet, you can spin it just by using your paintbrush. Until you get it into the position you want it. Which, that's pretty close to how I want it. And once you get it where you want it, you want to get all that excess water off. So I like to dry the paintbrush off and then just apply a little bit of pressure and get those beads of water off of there. And it'll move around a little bit. It's pretty delicate. This is where the real time consuming part comes in. But you can see it's pushing that water out of there. So you want to get all that water out of there to get a nice flat seal on the decal. And again, it's really delicate. The water makes it slide around, so we're going to play with it a little bit off camera, but you get the gist of it. As long as you keep that wet and your paintbrush wet, you can move it around as much as you want until you get it perfect. So I'm going to get it exactly how I want it, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Alright, as you can see, that decal is on there, nice and flat, right where I want it. There's no bubbles in the plastic, so I just took my paintbrush, dried the paintbrush off, and lightly pushed down on that plastic to wick the water from underneath of it until it's nice and flat against the plastic. Alright, so I'll go ahead and get this other star out that's been soaking and do that one. One thing I did forget to mention earlier, they make a liquid that it's almost like I don't know, it's like almost like a paint that you apply where you want the decal to go, that you can put on there before this step, which I've never done it. So if you've used, I don't even know the name of it, but basically you just paint it on the plastic, and it's supposed to help the decal, like almost like suction to the plastic better. This to me isn't too bad, so I haven't really looked into doing that. But if you've used that before, let me know in the comments. What you think, or even what it's called, because I can't even remember the name of it. But you basically just paint it on the plastic before you do the decal, and it's supposed to let the decal suction cup to the plastic for a better seal. So there you go. I didn't have to add too much water. It's sliding around pretty easy. And it might be over just a little too far compared to the other one. So we will slide it over just a hair. And then we'll dry our brush off once we get it where we like it. And just ever so gently put a little pressure on it to push that water away. And you'll be able to, once the water gets out from underneath of it, you'll tell it doesn't move around as much. And you can see little bits of water that come out from underneath of there. Might be crooked just a bit. There we go. That's basically it. Just let it dry real good. Another thing you never want to do is try not to touch the decals once they get transferred off of that paper. Do not touch them with your bare hands, because they're super delicate. They'll fold on themselves or rip or tear. Make sure you use tweezers with the paper to hold the paper while you push the decal off with the wet paintbrush. So there you go. There's the two stars. That's the first one I did, and that's the second one. So we're going to add a couple more things onto this Stewart, and I'll show you the finished product. All right, here we have my completed M3 Stewart. Added some more decals on, as you can see in the video. One thing I should have mentioned at the very beginning was that prior to applying any decals, the vehicle was primed and base coated in Army Painter's Army Green color. And I like to do the decals after the priming and base coating, so that when I get into the weathering effects and chipping, that all that stuff goes on over top of the decals to make them look worn as well. So I hope that this video helps. I know a lot of people are timid when it comes to doing decals. It is a little bit time consuming, like I said, but I think the end result is well worth the effort. I quite enjoy doing decals myself, so hit me up in the comments if you have any questions about anything I did, or any suggestions that might make my stuff look better. I'm no expert by any means. This is just how I've decided to do my decals, and it works for me. So thanks for watching. Have a good day, everybody.